The crash came first, the sound of splintering wood slicing through the quiet like a scream. Marcus Reed jolted awake on his couch, heart already racing before his mind caught up. For a split second, he thought it was another memory, another late-night echo from a job that never truly left him. Then he heard it again. Metal scraping concrete. A muttered voice, sharp with irritation. Someone was in his garage. Marcus rose slowly, every movement deliberate. Years in law enforcement had taught him that panic was loud, and silence was power. He slipped on his boots, reached for his phone, then stopped. He didn't call anyone. Not yet. The garage was detached, separated from his townhouse by a narrow strip of grass and a security light that flickered like it was tired of its own job. As he stepped outside, the cool air steadied him. That was when he saw her. She stood under the flickering light like she owned it, mid-40s, blonde bob stiff as her posture, clipboard tucked under one arm. The HOA vest she wore was bright enough to be seen from space. The garage door was half open, its lock busted clean. She was inside his space, shining a flashlight over his tools, his shelves, his life. "Excuse me," Marcus said, calm but firm. "What are you doing in my garage?" She jumped, then spun, eyes narrowing as if he'd interrupted something sacred. "This property is under HOA inspection," she snapped. "We received multiple complaints." Marcus glanced at the broken lock, then back at her. "At 2 in the morning. She lifted her chin. "Violations don't keep business hours." Marcus took a breath. He could already feel the familiar burn rising in his chest, not anger exactly, but something older. Tired. Heavy. "You broke into my garage." She scoffed. "Don't be dramatic. The HOA has authority. Not to break locks," he said. She finally looked at him properly then, her gaze sweeping over his height, his broad shoulders, his dark skin. Something flickered, surprise, then calculation. "Sir, we've had reports of suspicious activity. Unregistered vehicles. Possible illegal storage." Marcus almost laughed. "Almost. You mean my work truck?" She crossed her arms. "You people always say that." The words hung between them, ugly and undeniable. Marcus felt them land, felt the years of restraint press down harder. He thought of his father, who taught him to keep his hands visible. Of his mother, who taught him to keep his voice calm no matter how unfair the world felt. He thought of the badge locked in the drawer inside his house, the one he didn't wear off duty because sometimes it was safer not to. "You need to leave," Marcus said evenly. "Now." She smiled, thin and satisfied. "Or what? You'll threaten me?" "No," he said. "I'll call the police." She laughed out loud. "Please do." Marcus turned and walked back toward his house, each step measured. He heard her mutter something about entitlement and people like him. Inside, he opened the drawer and looked at the badge. Sheriff of the county. 22 years on the force. Community citations, commendations, nights without sleep. He picked it up, felt its familiar weight, then clipped it to his belt. When he stepped back outside, she was on the phone now, pacing. "Yes, I feel unsafe," she was saying loudly. "A man is threatening me. I need officers immediately." Marcus stopped a few feet away. "You're trespassing," he said. "I asked you to leave." She pointed at him dramatically. "See, he's aggressive." He didn't respond. He just waited. The patrol car arrived quickly, too quickly, Marcus noted. Lights flashing, officers stepping out with hands already near their holsters. He raised his palms automatically, training overriding everything else. "She broke into my garage," Marcus said. Before anyone could speak, the woman rushed forward. "He's lying. I'm law enforcement. He was hiding things. I feared for my safety." One of the officers looked at the broken lock, then at Marcus. "Sir, is this your property?" "Yes," Marcus said. "I own this unit. Do you have proof?" Marcus reached slowly, pulling out his wallet, then paused. He met the officer's eyes. "Before I do anything else," he said quietly, "I need to inform you that I'm Sheriff Marcus Reed." The air changed. It always did. The officer's posture shifted instantly. "Sheriff." Marcus nodded, unclipping the badge and holding it out. The other officer's eyes widened. The woman froze, her mouth opening slightly. This is ridiculous," she stammered. "Anyone can fake a badge." Marcus handed the badge to the officer, who checked it, then straightened sharply. "It's him," he said. "I've seen him at county briefings." The woman's face drained of color. "But, He threatened me. Marcus shook his head. I asked you to leave after you broke into my garage. The officers turned to her now. Ma'am, one said, do you have authorization to enter private property without notice? Well, no, but. And did you break the lock? She hesitated, then whispered, I had to. Marcus felt no satisfaction as they placed her hands behind her back. Only sadness. A deep, familiar kind. Later, after statements were taken and apologies murmured, Marcus stood alone in his garage, staring at the splintered wood. His neighbor, Mrs. Alvarez, approached quietly. I heard everything, she said. I'm sorry. He nodded. Thank you. She hesitated. You shouldn't have had to prove who you were to be treated right. Marcus met her gaze, something softening in his eyes. No, he said. I shouldn't have. The next HOA meeting was packed. Residents filled the room, whispering, watching as Marcus stood at the front, not as a sheriff but as a homeowner. He spoke calmly, clearly, about boundaries, about respect, about accountability. He talked about how power should protect, not intimidate. By the end, policies were changed. Inspections required notice. Locks were sacred. And one woman sat quietly in the back, eyes down, finally understanding that authority without empathy was just another form of harm. That night, Marcus repaired his garage door himself. As he worked, the neighborhood kids waved, and a sense of peace settled in his chest. He wasn't proud because he was a sheriff. He was proud because he'd stood firm without becoming bitter. Because real power, he knew, wasn't in breaking into someone's space. It was in knowing when to stand your ground, and when to open the door to something better.